Hey everyone, Spencer Jones here with another episode of the Jonesin 4 Show, the show that's here to help you live your life to the max, right? Get the most out of life, have the right mindset, be ready to rock and roll and crush it, right? To live your dreams. And today we have an amazing guest here who is going to share her stories with us and going to share tips, strategies, techniques, all those good things to help you have that mindset to crush it, right? To make sure you have that mindset to live your life to the max. So let's just jump right in. No more me talking. Let's jump in and welcome our amazing guest, Meghan Holder, to our show. Meghan, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I love the opportunity to do this. And, thanks, Spencer. Love how we were able to get on the same platform on this. So
Me too. I'm so happy we were able to connect. We have mutual friend Michael Faber, who's been on the show before, and that whole Unleash You community. It's an incredible one. That's how we met. So we've gotten to know each other a little bit here over the past couple months, right? Love the family. So awesome. And it's been great to see all the stuff you're doing, where you have this Pivot 180 podcast, which is all about turning around mindset and turning around these bad things in your life, things that happen, those hardships, and turning around into the positives. So you're helping people do that. And along with everything else you do, you're just really helping people, in my opinion, live their lives to the max. But where did this come from? Let's just start with this way. What, first of all, do you do? And then we could go back into how you got there. So explain for everyone, what do you do?
well, how short or long of a list do you want? Because right now there's a multitude of different facets of what I do. But the main focus is, living your best life and trying to help people, get through certain things. So a few of the things I do. I work in financial services. I'm a director of operations for a Christian bookstore. And I also do housing inspections after disasters. And then obviously the podcast, that is a volunteer effort at this point, but I'm wanting to make that a larger impact and actually pay my co-hosts and all other stuff. Then let's see, volunteer wise, I help out at animal rescue. I put on a beach cleanup semi-annually in memoriam to my mom and my birthday. And then I'm also the agricultural and environmental chair to the council on the Chamber of Commerce here in St. Augustine, Florida. So yeah, dabble in a little bit of a lot of stuff.
A lot of different things, but they all seem to have that same focus, and that focus is service, of helping people, right? The beach cleanup, helping people there, disaster relief, hanging out with pets, right? And making sure that they get good homes and doing all those things. Like, that's huge. You're giving back. And I love that you're always there trying to make this world a better place. So where does this come from? Where does this stem? Were you always that way? Were you a young girl and you were at the beach and you cleaned it up, or where does this come from?
Well, growing up, I apologize for the phone. I thought I turned it off. Growing up, I always loved nature. So I think it was instilled in me to be either a steward of my environment. And my mom was very good in stewardship and helping others. And my household was pretty generous and hospitable. People in our congregation, and just being generous and sharing and being of service to others who may be in need or just need a helping hand at that time was instilled in me in a pretty young age. So that has come up, as an adult too. I'm out at the beach, I would say multiple times a week in the morning, and I hate litter. So instead of griping about it, I actually do something about it, pick it up. Pick up after myself, which I would hope that everybody would be in line with that too. That would make it a lot easier for everybody else. But yeah, the beach cleanups is just being of service, keeping the beaches clean, and not only for us and visitors and tourists and people who live here, but also the environment. So the people, the animals and stuff that don't really have a voice of the same language that we speak. So
And that's huge, and that really resonates with me. And because of what I believe and what we're sharing with Jonesin for is that sustainability, to try being our best at making sure the things that we do are environmentally friendly. And can we do that all the time? No, but we're trying to make those best choices and head that way so that we can make a difference for our future generations, right? And for the animals, and as you said, the things that don't have the same voice that we speak, or that we can hear and see those voices. So I love that service, that whole mindset of being there, a steward for the world, was instilled as a young girl, right? With your mom sharing at your household, making those things happen. So with this, as you have grown and you've gotten older and continued being a steward, how have you noticed other people taking this on, and how have you helped encourage others to become stewards themselves?
Okay, well, I mean, I've picked up on a lot, the past few years, and especially this last year, 2020, how we met Michael and Unleashed Family, and just knowing that there are other people out there that have the same mindset and viewpoints and vision to have a broader envisioning of the world isn't that bad, but it can still get better,
Right.
but make sure that you're being one of the key points to make it better by bettering yourself. So being around that and finding those types of people, no matter where they are. It's like, especially with this virtual stuff, you can link up to people across the globe, which I love. Love to travel, love to connect with people that way, and hearing different mind or insights. They have different experiences and stuff like that. So sorry, I digressed off the question. Can you repeat the question?
No, I loved it. The main question was just how have you helped people foster that? I mean, so through your journeys, you've been able to connect with people who have that same steward mindset, that giving mindset, and wanting to be that change, right? With Michael, Unleash You, and with other people. And 2020, as horrible as a year as it was in many ways, it led to some amazing things of more people being okay with doing virtual things and more people connecting virtually, as you said, from all across the world, and realizing, this world has a lot of positives to it. There's a lot of good things, and there's a lot of good that still can be done. And let's be part of those change makers to make that happen. So, how have you met with those people and helped others join you to be a change maker?
Well, I think a lot of it, especially with this virtual stuff, is just sharing the opportunities that people can use to get out there and volunteer and help others. Last year during quarantine, everybody was at a low, myself included, and the podcast Pivot 180 Weekly Boost, was a brainchild out of one of my meditations during quarantine. It's like, how can, I um, remove the focus on myself and the crap that I was going through, because everybody was going through the crap.
Right.
And seeing how I could be a better service to the community around me. So I started going to the beach almost every morning, posting beautiful pictures of that, because a lot of people didn't feel comfortable going out of their homes. Being in Florida, we had a little bit more leniency on that. And I have friends across the US. So posting those pictures there, and then actually starting the podcast. Um, actually started it on a cross country trip last year. So was able to do that with two other co-hosts and just sharing it with people that we knew. So there's two other co-hosts, Dara Sweat and Heather Benzel. One of them is a yoga instructor and one's social media marketing. Heather does a meditation at the end of each of the episodes. So that's been a blessing beyond everything. And so just sharing through that podcast, and the main focus is positivity, sharing positivity, how people have pivoted their negative obstacles into changing it into something positive. So I've delved into Buddhism quite a bit, and that is the main thing: is turn poison into medicine.
Nice.
And the lotus flower is their symbol. The mud flower, the lotus flower, and it only blooms and germinates in muddy water.
Hmm.
So you get this beautiful flower,
Right.
coming from a mucky state. So it's just like trying to figure out how to turn whatever, crap is handed to you. You might think it's crap at that time, but just look at it as manure, because that's what helped things grow. So just making sure that you have that positive mindset, that viewpoint is like, okay, this thing is happening for me, not necessarily to me. I know that's kind of cliche, but it's just like repeating that to yourself. And I had to for a long time. I'll admit that. So,
It
but
might
yeah,
sound cliche, and it might sound, because it's used so much now, especially since the pandemic, but it is a true saying, and I wholeheartedly agree and believe in it, that these situations are happening for you. Or okay, maybe if you don't want to think they are happening for you, you can make the best out of that situation, so that you could turn it around, as opposed to just being stuck in that manure, as it were, right? And stuck in that muddy water. You could blossom and have this flower, right? I believe that in every situation, no matter how dark, how dire, there's one positive, at least one positive, if not many, many more. There's a positive there. It might be a tiny positive, but
I'm
it's there,
breathing.
right? So it's still there. So how do you help, or how do you help people change their mindset if they're going through that difficult time and all they see is that muck, that mud, all that crap around them? How do you help them realize, oh, there's this flower here, there's this beauty, there's this positive? How do you go about doing that?
Well, I would say just sharing, and people can tap into whatever they want to tap into, because it's not always about how we deliver it, it's how people receive it. You
Mm,
can offer somebody a plate of biscuits and they might not like biscuits,
right. True.
you know.
So how, like,
Um,
what do you share?
just experiences, things that, people, we have different guests on the show too, to offer a wider range of experiences. So um, I know me as a person, I know, was it Adam Latin, the clearest view, he was saying that each person has their own DNA, so they go through their own um, issues, so they have their own understanding of it, right? So if I offer somebody as a guest on the show that may have has gone through a similar experience as somebody else, across the globe, who may be going through something similar at that time, that person can actually have that connection, and that resonate with them. Whereas myself or Dara or Heather may not have that same connection. So we're offering a wider range, or wider range of experiences, so people can actually tap into and listen to if they wanted to.
I love that, and we learn from stories, right? We relate to
Right.
people's stories, and when you hear a person who has that same story as you, then you all of a sudden have this connection to them, because you're like, oh, we have this in common. And while details are probably different to some degree, that general area, that general stories, you ring true, and then you have the stronger connection. You're more willing to listen and help and support those people. So let me ask you, what is a story you have where you have overcome this hardship, this mud around you? What's the story you would like to share?
Well, I think the most prominent one would probably be when I lost my mom.
Mm,
Um, it was actually 10 years ago. And let's see, 10 years ago, May 9th. So it was 2011. It was a unexpected passing. So
mm,
for the first, I would say 3 years. I mean, everybody deals with grief differently. I went through the stages of grief, no doubt about that. Um, I went through a period of when I felt like I was a victim. It's like, why is this happening to me? And just, I was tired after, and I drank. I resorted to alcohol, drugs, whatever, at that time. So it was very difficult to get out of that, but it's possible. But you have to make the conscious effort to do so. Like I had, since a child, I was always felt like, there was something out there, there was something better. So I would reach out to different resources. Okay, so how can I better myself this way? It may not have been the right choice, but at least I was making an action to do something about it.
right.
And then realizing later, it's like, okay, maybe that wasn't the right thing, or the right person to talk to, or I went to therapy, talked to several therapists, that kind of thing. I worked on myself, different Reiki, all these different types of things. And I would say that it was a beneficial beyond measure, going that route to better myself, and getting away from the self-sabotaging actions. I would say it took about 4 years after that point. And then I decided, it's like, okay, how can I make this time better for me instead of sulking each year at May 9th, around that time period or around her birthday? How can I make it better for myself? So every year around that time, I would take a trip.
Hmm.
Um, and I would decide it maybe a year, a month or two prior. And a lot of times it was near the beach. And then um, I visited St. Augustine 5 years ago and knew that that would be the next place I moved to. Then I was here. I was like, okay, so I got to make this bigger than myself. So how can I make myself feel better and also make everybody else around me feel better?
Hmm.
So, and I knew that I wanted to do a beach cleanup. And I was like, why not put it around my mom's death, So I linked up with the county here, and has been happening for the past 3 years. This past year has been awesome. So right before I started marketing for the beach cleanup, a graphic design studio who I now work for offered their services to help market the beach cleanup. And so now we had over, I want to say 8,000 donated in services and prizes.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's
And over 100 people showed up. And yeah, so we had, 5 adult top prizes for people who picked up the most trash. And I think the number one was over $700 worth of prizes going to that person. So it just incorporating like the environment and things that I love and that my mom loved too. So just knowing that, yeah, her death hurts. It sucks. Not having her here sucks. But remembering her and allowing a good to come from it um, is priceless. So, and it's much more um, let's see, beneficial to me, that I got away from the other deteriorating actions too. So, yeah.
and you could still see and hear that it means so much to you, right? And your mom still is so close to you, and I love that you turned around this dark time into something positive. And I want to key in on a couple things, but first I want to say before that, I'm very sorry about the sudden loss of your mom. That it sucks and it's hard, and I can imagine all the grief you went through to go there and to try to overcome, and realizing, okay, you were doing self-sabotaging things, right? Alcohol, drugs, you said, you name it, right? All those things that happen, and that's not helping you, right? Going through stages of grief, yes, that's what we do, right? We work through it. But when you start adding on that self-sabotage, that doesn't help.
Right.
The good part is you realized it. You realized, I need to get away from this. I need to not do this and move to something healthier. So you tried different things to stop doing the self-sabotage. And the only way you know which way is the right way for you is by going for it and trying, right? So you tried the different things, right? And all this, that, the other thing. Some of them you realized, this isn't for me. I'm not self-sabotaging, but this wasn't the thing that really helped. But then you did find things that, oh, this resonated with me, this worked for me, this helped me overcome that grief. And then I love how you turned it from being, okay, I don't want to be sad and depressed on this day and just, be in that sorrow around that day solely. So how can I make this happier, right? So now you're saying, okay, what physical thing can I do to make myself happier, make this a more joyous time, right? When we could celebrate my mom's life and enjoy it. Well, let's travel. Awesome. So you traveled, and now you found a place where you love so much you wanted to move to. And so you move there. Awesome. And then you're like, well, okay, now that I'm here, I don't want to travel on that date anymore. Let's do something more. So now you went even deeper, and you took something your mom loved, service, right? Being helpful and doing things for the world, for the earth. Well, you just took that to the next level and started something to celebrate her life on her on her passing, right? So you took that and now you're impacting other people's lives. As you said, not just making your life better, but making other people feel good and making the world a better place. All of those things that you want and that your mom wants. And so, how amazing is that? That you went from this dark time, this hard time, to something now where I'm sure it's still a heavy day. I'm still sure that she's with you right along that time and throughout the year, but even more so that day. But that she's walking with you and helping you and the others pick up the trash, to be there to make a bigger impact. How incredible is that? So, I first of all applaud you for that. And when you do great things and you do the right things, companies are coming in, people see it, like you have over 100 people, prizes coming in. That is amazing. So fantastic job changing the world and taking a hard time to an amazing positive.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it's you don't really see the magnitude of it until it's already passed. And you know, sometimes you play small and it's just like, oh no, maybe it's not that big, but you're laying it out there, and I'm just like, oh yeah, thanks.
It's amazing how
Appreciate that. But I definitely couldn't have done it without the great support systems from along the way, family, friends, and obviously the services that the other companies, like you were saying, that stepped up and helped out. It's been an awesome experience.
when you do something that is for the right reasons that are making a big difference, people take notice. And whether family, friends, they take notice, and then they want to help and they want to be part of it. And people run companies, so then they get their companies involved and help make those changes, so then it can grow and you can make an even bigger impact, and not just people's lives but in the environment. So you get a huge win-win, and that is absolutely incredible that you get to have that.
Hey everyone, Spencer Jones, and I'm sorry to butt in like this, but I'll keep this really short and sweet. I want to help you live your life to the max. I want to help you chase your passions to get the most out of life. And I wrote a book to help you do that. It's my latest book. It's called Chase Your Passions. It's available on Amazon, and I know it can help you change your life and help you live your life to the max. Basically, in the book, I walk you through how to create the ultimate roadmap to success. Whatever that success looks like for you, it walks you through it. Everybody has a different roadmap because everybody's dream, everybody's goal is different. So everybody's roadmap is going to be different. But this book helps you, guides you in creating your personal roadmap to success. So folks, don't delay. Get on Amazon and just look up Chase Your Passions. I put Spencer Jones in there too, just to be safe, so it pulls up right away. Or go to my website, spencermjones.com, and get your copy of it today. And heck, get the Priorities of Practice journal with it, because that companion journal, that makes it that much sweeter. All right, folks, thanks for listening. I told you I'd keep it short and sweet. Catch you soon.
Say a person, one of our listeners, is struggling with something right now. They're going through a hard time. How can they turn that into a positive? They heard your story, like, wow, this is amazing. Look what she did. And they're saying to themselves, I don't know if I could do that. I'm not capable of that, right? Who am I? I'm just going through this hard time, and I'm in that mud. But I want to get out of this. What do I do? What advice would you give them?
First, I would say, go inward and ask yourself, is like, take a few breaths really at first, and then ask yourself, is like, what is it that I really enjoy doing? That will only take 1 or 2 minutes just to start. And then let it sit there for a little while and figure out how it can expound off of that. And let it sit with yourself, let it resonate with yourself first, because once you start healing yourself, then you can go outward, right?
So true.
Put that oxygen mask on first to yourself. So yeah, I mean, if like somebody's not going to have the same interest as I do necessarily, maybe it's somebody enjoys horseback riding. Okay, go look up, just make the extra step, go find a horse farm near you. Okay, now you know.
Right.
Next step. Do they offer lessons? Could you volunteer there? Something, just little steps just to get something in motion and then build on that. Like, I wouldn't say just like I didn't come out of the funk after 4 years and be like, oh, I'm gonna do a beach cleanup. It's gonna be this massive. I had no clue, you
Right.
know. It's just kind of grown into that, and I'm just like letting it run its course on that. But say somebody else, their thing is not being out in the outdoors, it's gaming or something like that. How can maybe go to the Boys and Girls Club, show them how to help them with like video games if they do that, or be of service to somebody else, because sometimes taking the focus off of you too, and realizing, hearing other people's stories out out there, that you're not the only one going through it, and you can probably get a different perspective and maybe how to get through it, whatever you're going through too.
I love that advice, to first of all know that it's not, you're going through that tough time and you have to do something big right away, a huge beach cleanup, you have to change the world in such a huge massive way right away. It's those steps, and you took those steps to get to where you are now, right? Years later, 10 years later, now you've had this amazing event, and it builds itself up. And then I love the advice of just take those small steps, right? Go find the Boys and Girls Brigade, go find the horse stable or whatever it is for you. Take those little steps and then keep going with those little steps and just go a little farther, a little more, and work your way out of it, knowing that it's not necessarily this huge shift right off the bat, but it's taking these steps to say, no, I'm sick of feeling this way, I'm going to start doing things to change it, and then taking the action on those steps, on those little decisions, because it's those little steps that then lead to long-term bigger changes. That's huge. So had a great question about leading into that. So now it's poof, gone, just gone. I hate when that happens. So with yeah, it's life. I'm human. We forget things. We forget things. So as you're going on this journey, like, where do you see this going now for the beach cleanup and for the podcast for you? Like, where do you see this all taking you? Because you are now impacting and changing people's lives locally, but also internationally with the podcast and everything else. Where do you see this going? And yeah, like, what are you hoping to see and achieve?
Well, with the beach cleanup, that right now it's possible, like, because we actually had some of the Unleashed family up in Delaware participate too, so that has actually gotten bigger than what I anticipated.
Holy
So
wow.
yeah.
So it's not just beaches in St. Augustine, like, this is beaches anywhere?
Right. So I mean, whatever's there. I mean, on a certain day we might have this I think what we're setting up right now is an app where we're not setting up the app, but like a tournament where you pick up the most trash, and it could be logged in, whatever beach or whatever area you want to be in.
So it doesn't even have to be a beach, it's just picking up litter.
Right.
Well, why don't we know about this more? We need to get this thing out there. We'll help you spread the word, because this sounds like a great challenge. I'm going to lay it down for the Jonesin 4 tribe and our family communities, all of that. Whenever this next one is, we're going to town and we're going to pick up the most trash from all across the world. It's going to be amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, so the project right now, we rebranded this year. It's called Clean Sweep, STA St. Augustine, but Clean Sweep 2021, then it'll go on different. But basically, find us on Instagram. It has the wave with an orange background, and actually the it's funny, the wave, not funny but serendipitous. The wave for the background and stuff is taken from like that Japanese wave, which I actually have on my arm as a tattoo in remembrance of my mom. So,
oh, awesome.
It's like all tying into each other. But yeah, it's so that is getting even grander than what I anticipated or even dreamt of. And then Pivot, we had our first international guest back in January in the Philippines. So yeah, I anticipate that getting much larger, and I'm part of the vision is to travel with my co-hosts across the globe, right? Interviewing different people, different guests in person, and if they feel comfortable with it, depending on whatever current happenings, and just being able to share those types of experiences, from across the globe, so that more people can connect, more people can resonate, more people can learn from other people's experiences, and um, get different insights that way. Yeah.
I think that's an incredible vision, to be able to travel and to get stories from other people, because there's some people who don't have that technology readily available, right, to share their stories with them, or are comfortable doing it through technology and rather do it in person. So then now you're sharing those stories and impacting and changing more lives. You saying that reminded me of a post one of my friends made uh, sometime last year. I just remember it was during the pandemic, and it was a book of stories where this person traveled around and just sat down next to random people and asked them for their story, and then wrote this whole book based on, or not based on, but just these people's stories and how
That's
we
awesome.
relate. Yeah, I'm like, need to get the book yet. I don't have it in my hand
Yeah.
yet, but I can't
Let
wait
me
to
know
get it.
what that is. I'll definitely be interested in reading that.
Yeah, I will let you know, and I will be sure to share it with on the Jonesin 4 pages on our social media stuff as well, so everyone else can tune in and check
Great.
it out. But so I love it. Love that you're sharing stories. Love that the Clean Sweep STA, right, St. Augustine, is growing, and that's building up. So let me ask you these questions. How can people support you, whether it's a Clean Sweep, the Pivot 180 podcast, or yourself alone? How can they support you and connect with you if they want to do more and learn more from you?
Well,
Lots of
they can
questions. I know.
connect with me on Facebook. Meghan A. Holder, I think it is, or Instagram is Meghan A. Holder. And then, going from there, we can move in different areas. But support wise, I guess Clean Sweep would just be organically, is like, if they want to tap in and post like they're picking up trash on whatever day. So our next cleanup is actually right next to my birthday, is October. My birthday is October 2nd, but the next cleanup is October 1st.
Right.
So, jump in on Instagram, tag us that you're picking up trash, that kind of thing. And just follow that, and we'll keep the updates coming as to information on that. And then Pivot 180 Weekly Boost, support wise, tune in and see if it's something that you enjoy. We are looking to expand it and give it a facelift, so that is in the works right now. And so, as I stated earlier, I want it to be monetized, so I actually widen the impact of it, not to necessarily to have the basis of money, but money makes things happen.
Right.
So just being able to have a broader reach. And I've been talking to you, I've been talking to Michael, AJ, Sean, a bunch of different people about how to get podcasts out there. And I'm open to suggestions and information and things along that line. So
Is it just on Facebook right now, Pivot 180, or can they find it on like Apple? Where can they find the Pivot 180 podcast?
So right now it is delivered on Facebook only. Looking into YouTube and a few other platforms as well right now. All of our past episodes, it's been airing for a little over a year now. So all of our past episodes are up there, and the Facebook page is Pivot 180 Weekly Boost. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, everyone, I'm going to challenge you to a couple things. First thing is to check out Pivot 180 and subscribe, like that, to that channel, so you can be listening to the current shows, previous shows, and then be aware when they start expanding it even more. So hop on Facebook, connect with Pivot 180, and also with Meghan, because she's awesome. Her beach post in the morning, I love it. Every day, or almost every day, I get to see a beach from Florida. I love those things. So check her out. But then also Clean Sweep STA. Like him on Instagram, follow along, and the biggest challenge. I'm going to challenge you to join me and pick up trash. Put it in your calendars right now on October 1st. Pick up August 1st, right? October
1st. You're right.
Okay.
October 1st.
October 1st, because your birthday's the second, but October 1st, you're
Yes.
going to pick up trash, take pictures, and share it on Instagram. Tag them in it. Share it with me. Tag me on Instagram or Facebook. Let me know. And let's go make this world a better place. Megan, this has
Thank
been
you.
so incredible. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. So, folks, let's go after it. Make positives from those dark times, right? We all go through hardships. We all go through adversity. We all struggle, but there's positives in there. And, go through the grief, go through the stages that you need to go through, but don't stop there. Don't be stuck in that mud. Instead, grow from it, become that beautiful lotus flower, and continue growing, because you can inspire the world by your sharing your journey and being part of it. So thank you everyone for joining me. Hit subscribe, hit like, and until next time, we will catch you all later.